This video is about writing ratios given a situation and using proportions to solve application problems. So in number one, we have a recipe that makes 36 jumbo cookies, calls for 4.5 cups of sugar. You only need 24 jumbo cookies. Set up and solve a proportion to find how many cups of sugar you need for the reduced recipe. So in this problem, we are comparing two items. We are comparing cookies to sugar. Now, it doesn't really matter which one you put on top and bottom as long as you keep it consistent. I usually do what starts the sentence first comes on top, what's the second item goes on the bottom. So in the first sentence, we have 36 cookies calls for 4.5 cups of sugar. So we would have 36 over 4.5 equals. We want to make 24 jumbo cookies. We need to know how much sugar we are using. So when we cross multiply here, we get 36x is equal to 4.5 times 24. And as we multiply that out, we get 36x is equal to 108. Then we can divide by 36 on both sides. So x is equal to 3. So we need 3 cups of sugar. In number 2, in the movie Zoolander, Derek Zoolander is having trouble understanding the idea of models and proportions. When he thinks the model of the school Magatu has built for him is the actual size of the school, the ratio of the model to the actual size of the school is 1 to 650. So if the model is 5.5 inches long, approximately how long is the actual school? So in this case, we are comparing the model of the school to the actual school. So here we have 1 inch in the model is 650 inches in actual size. And if we look at a real life building. So we know that it is 5.5 in the model. We want to know how long is it in actual life. So when we cross multiply here, we get x is equal to 5.5 times 650. So we get x is equal to 3,575 inches. Number 3, did you know color blindness affects males more than females? About 1 in every 13 males has some form of color blindness. If there are 2,000 males at WTHS, how many of them have some form of the color blindness? So we are comparing the color blindness to the total males. So there's 1 colorblind out of every 13 males. So we have x over 2,000. So when we cross multiply here, we have 13x equals 1 times 2,000. 13x is going to equal 2,000. So when we divide by 13, we get x equals 153.8. Now we can't have 0.8 people, so we would say between 153 to 154 people, or in this case, males. What percentage of males have some form of color blindness? So to find our percentage, we're going to do 1 divided by 13 times 100 to get our percentage. So 1 divided by 13, and then we're going to multiply that by 100. So our percentage here is going to be 7.7%. Number 4, about 0.5% of females have some form of color blindness. So convert 0.5 into a fraction. So we are going to have 0.5 out of 100 because percentages are always out of 100. So we do 0.5 divided by 100. Math, enter, enter. We get 1 out of 200. So this means it doesn't occur as often as in males. Here, for every one female that has color blindness, there's 200 people that it was out of. So in part B, if there are approximately 2,000 females at WTHS, how many have a form of color blindness? So we would have 1 with color blindness out of 200 equals X out of 2,000. So when we cross multiply here, we get 200X is equal to 2,000. We can divide by 200, and X is going to equal 10 females. Part number 5. The sophomore class of WTHS has 920 total students and 450 girls. Leave the ratios as fractions. So how many boys are there? So if we have 920 total students, we can do 920 minus how many of them are female. So minus 480. And we get there are 440 boys. In number 5, we want to find the ratio of girls to sophomores. So there are 480 girls out of 920 sophomores. We want to reduce that. So in our calculator, 480 divide by 920, math, enter, enter. So that is going to get us 12 over 23. In part C, we want to find the ratio of boys to sophomores. So we have 440 divided by 920. So 440 divided by 920, enter, math, enter, enter. So that's going to be 11 out of 23. In part D, we want to find the ratio of girls to boys. So there are 480 girls and 440 boys. So we can do 480 divided by 440, math, enter, enter. So we get 12 out of 11. If we want to do boys to girls, we can just flip our ratio. So this would be 11 to 12. In part F, 3 of 11 sophomores will take driver's ed this summer. Use the proportion to figure out how many students will take driver's ed. So there's 3 out of 11 equals, we know that, we don't know how many are taking driver's ed, but we know there are 920 sophomores. So when we cross multiply, we get 11x equals 3 times 920. Three times 920, we get 11x equals 2,760. We can divide by 11 on both sides. We get x equals 250.9. So that means it's going to be 250 to 251 sophomores taking driver's ed.